Let's now start building out the beginning of our skill. So on the left, let's go ahead and select the map so we can visually see the elements as we start adding them in. And on the right-hand side of our UI, ensure that source is selected and all Alexa skills begin with start. And this actually is a scene. So how we define a scene in the editor is we put the @ symbol and the name of the scene. Next up, we have the say property. And when the scene plays, Alexa reads aloud to the user the content that's defined within that say property. So in this case, we're seeing hello world. Let's go ahead and change that. So we're going to say, welcome to Jungle Escape. And then we can put in a then property. So notice as you type in the asterisk, we get some autocomplete here in the editor, and we can use the then property. And then provides a list of scene instructions, which are commands that are executed in the order after Alexa plays the content for the scene. What we're actually going to do here is then transition to another scene. So if we do the dash and right arrow, that allows us to jump to another scene, and we could call it start playing. So let's create our start playing scene. So again, we use the @ sign and we have start playing. And now let Alexa speak to the user. We can say, and here's what we're going to provide as the text. Would you like to start playing? So Alexa is going to say, welcome to Jungle Escape. Would you like to start playing? And it's at this point, of course, we put in our then. And now we use another tag that's called here. And the here instruction really specifies the words or phrases to listen for and what should happen if heard. So these are the various things that the user can say. They can say yes, yeah, or okay. And you can put different variations of what a user might say. And if those phrases are heard, what we can do is we can clear all our variables if for any reason the user had started over, and we're going to jump here to a begin scene. This will start our game off. Otherwise, if the user says here, no, or maybe nope, or negatory, any sort of expression that you want to put in there, then we're going to jump to goodbye. So these two scenes we haven't created yet. So notice I'm going to go ahead and save. And we haven't created those scenes. That's why we got that error message showing up. Let's go ahead and create that begin and goodbye scene. So here we have, let's do the goodbye first. And all Alexa is going to say is goodbye. And then what we can do is simply end our session. So to do that, this is how we do it. We can return end, and that ends the session. Otherwise, we can begin our skill. So here is the scene for begin. So if we save this again, notice the errors go away. And if you look to the left, you can see that our narrative begins building out. And that's really cool in that you can see a graphical representation of our skill. So next, let's go ahead and actually start our skill off. So this is where it's going to start, and Alexa is going to say, and there's a lot of text here that introduces the skill. And what I've done is I've included an exercise file where you can simply copy and paste the dialogue for the skill. So let's grab that initial begin dialogue. So here, from the Jungle Escape dialogue text file, I'm going to copy this. Let's switch back over to the editor, and let's paste this in here. You can change the formatting. So that's what Alexa is going to say while exploring the jungle and so on, and we'll actually test this out. After, notice what the last phrase is here. Do you choose the path to the left or to the right? And let us determine what happens next when the user says left or right. So after the Alexa speaks, we want to use our then statement. And let's initialize a variable. This is how we do it. Set player health as 10. And if we hear left, what are we going to do? We're going to jump to the left scene. So we're going to create a scene that says go left. It doesn't exist yet. Otherwise, if we hear right, we're going to jump off to the go right scene. And again, we haven't created that. We can also add in a reprompt. So this is another tag I'm introducing you to, reprompt. And what reprompt is that Alexa will read aloud the content you specify if the player doesn't say anything when the game is expecting a response. So if after a while Alexa doesn't hear left or right, it's going to reprompt. And the reprompt text is, do you choose the path to the left, comma, or to the right? And one last tag I'm going to introduce you to is recap. And recap is actually used when Alexa didn't understand what you said, or if it doesn't align with one of the options it's expecting. So you can say, to recap, Alexa is going to say left, comma, or right. And this is simply going to prompt the user with what they should see. So the only other thing we should do to finish off here, this first section of the beginning of our skill, let's create a scene which is go left. We're not going to define it yet. And another scene that is go right. So let's save our file. Looks like we got an error there. Let's hover over it. So we have go left, go right. Let's put a space after go right. And let's save it. Okay, and we're good. So although we haven't defined the content, we just needed to put a space after the scene just for everything to save and for errors to go away. And there you have it. So that is the beginning of our skill. In the next video, we're actually going to simulate this and test it out.